important. Only twice can an operator be used between your entire team. Insane. We've got a little bit of prizing on the line as well today, though. $4,000 for the team in first and $3,000 for the team in second. So a majority of our prizing at the top of our leaderboard, but those top two spots, again, are the ones that make land. Now, third gets a little extra over their competition, $1,000 if you get third place, and then $500 all the way down, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So you're making something just making it to this stage, which is exciting. But of course, you want to be top two, not only top. And speaking of who, we got to talk teams, because yes, we had 5 teams come from the semifinals, 1 team invited. I mean, Tiff, we got some recognizable names here, some names that folks at home probably know if you've been watching these competitions. But I have to draw our attention to the one quote-unquote asterisk invited team, the team that earned their spot in a different competition in the Delta Force Elite Invitational. Jacked, tan, and handsome, aka Team Nowhere, with Nowhere, Sing Song, and equal plays. Watch out for this trio, Tiff. Gonna be really fun to see what they can do in this competition. And I think we've even got some replays of what happened in that competition and maybe some key points about what teams will do.
Yeah, your job on these initial matches, especially match number 1, is just kind of get in the map, get a feel for the lobby, but not only that, loot your absolute heart out. Get as much value out of that initial match 1 as you possibly can. If you go down here earlier and end in the negative, it really sets yourself up for that uphill battle where you have to essentially go into a Mandel brick round and start that regain. So maybe we'll see people electing to use some of those assault operators more often than not here right off the beginning, maybe partnered with an engineer, but typically those engineers are so much more valuable in the Mandel brick rounds when you have to go on the hyper defense during a decode. So I really want to see people moving around Zero Dam super quickly and then get out with all of that value, plus maybe a couple kills to really bolster it. However, when you think about what we saw in EU Goj, is the spawns were so weird on Zero Dam that we really didn't get any fighting until like the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, spawns absolutely dictate it. There's a whole rule book on how all this works, but we're jumping straight into the game and we'll check out where they spawn this time around and see if there's maybe a couple teams contesting admins to start, and that is certainly the case. This one a bit more normalized as we see both Inc and SFC both sprinting at admin, likely going to be our first encounter, pending what happens in the bottom right hand corner of your screen between visitor center and substation. Admin is going to be the priority position, and already we're finding some decent loot on main across the board, actually in Submit Plant. That's Mingu picking up 187k item, I believe some coffee beans. But admin's going to be a fun fight to watch. Now, the other thing about these non-middle brick rounds, quickly, by the way, we jump into this, and likely going to be our first engagement here against Saeed, hopefully able to find some good loot, and it doesn't look like Ink's going to get it here quick enough, is that there are airdrops that drop. And if you haven't watched this, they have great loot and a potential for the AWM and about 10 rounds of ammo, a key factor for some teams to potentially find success on the map.
I love all those good shout outs. And as I kind of look at what our teams are utilizing here in terms of their operator composition, you do have kind of SFC, who did spawn up an admin, starting off grabbing 2 stingers. We're just burning stinger all together, done, dusted, and Nox as well. So I like the play of Nox. We do typically see the majority of teams just not using Nox at all throughout the 6-game series, but you do have the ability to kind of get out and move and maybe focus on the fights with that. Here, you also have another assault operator. You got D-Wolf, we've got Shepard. We're feeling pretty good with this, and I think this is a good start.
No, I totally agree. SFC, again, they've actually looted up quite nicely, found a stopwatch and a fossil, totaling about 600k roughly between just those 2 items. So take the early lead in terms of the loot categories. Yeah, I think it is worth mentioning. I mean, you see Infant Baby also with a Nox. What we saw from EU is that nobody liked playing Nox for the most part. Nox is the least played operator across 6 games. So burning it early to make sure you have whatever you want if it does go to 6 maps, not a bad thought. Also not a bad operator, depending on how you play them. It just kind of forces a certain play style. It doesn't have quite as much utility in some of these true 3v3 fights where you have to play kind of front to back, but assets obtained. JTH finds something off screen that we didn't see, pushing them up to 2.4 mil. I'd love to see if we can get an observer to take a look at that. I didn't see it pop up on the right unless I was blind, which is very possible because I'm really focused on this fight in admin. Again, it's a fight that'll likely take a long time, Tiff, but we'll see where it goes from here.
I mean, that's what I was kind of anticipating is a lot of our teams were going to move rather slow. Once you really start upping the ante, considering what we saw in regional semifinals last weekend, sure, maybe a couple fights right off the rip. But this here and now, you are guaranteed top 2 to go to LAN, which is why would you want to go out early? And then you can see the mantle of Fossil. We're feeling pretty solid here.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's great. It's like 500 plus. Just that player alone. Loco jumping up, joining his team.
Ooh.
Patience being a virtue right now. And there's the look at it. This is JTH, I can only assume. Top secret server found. 2.1 mil. I was wondering what jumped them up. There they are, JTH. I was wondering what jumped them up to the top of the leaderboard. Nice find, gentlemen. This is a big one. And finding that in Substation. Yeah, they're finding that in Substation. A nice one.
They're like, oh my gosh, the loot gods have absolutely blessed us here in match number 1. But you think about the spawns that we saw on our prior regional finals, and just because they started good did not mean they got that luck throughout the entirety of the event. But still, at that 11-minute 30 mark, and no real issues just yet. But if I'm a team that have found maybe 2 to 3 mil, I can pop and grab the airdrop. Maybe I focus on leaving at that point.
Yeah, it's not a bad thought. I mean, if you're able to stuff your safe box full, we do allow safe boxes. They're all mandated and dictated to that 3x3. So you kind of have this buffer zone where you don't have to send someone out until you start filling up safe boxes fully. And obviously, a lot of these teams put good loot that they're bringing in into the safe box. Just in case they die, they'll be able to use it in the next round. You know, the usual strats. Again, one of my favorite parts about this, while we have this kind of moment to breathe, one of my favorite parts about this new tournament format, we do find it. Ooh, nice watch there from Bayzona. That's 210K. This really does feel like pubs. I mean, it obviously way sweatier. It's custom lobbies, but everything that you experience in pubs, you mostly experience in customs. Some slow fights, sure. If you die, you lose all your gear. You can use your safe boxes. Really a good representation, rather, of what you'll find and how you play the normal game. Just way sweatier. And these teams playing really slow right now. But this is a classic strategy we see in Zero Damn Tiff. We see a team early get to the extract, SFC. They actually have a decent amount of loot, so they could take this. Lower loot value than maybe they would have liked, but they're trying to bait out a fight here at Damn.
And there goes the first airdrop. We'll likely go back to that fight. But it looks like JTH should have the positioning advantage in terms of being able to get the first team over there towards that airdrop. Likely going to find some nice armor or potential helmet.
Yeah, this is something we see often is you do have a Cineva operator playing for these airdrops. It's quite easy. Send the Cineva operator up with the shield, play behind it, and loot it up. Let's see what they find. You're right. Nice gold helmet to start things off and some tequila. Why not?
Hey, it's all fun and games. More tequila, right? It's a party.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we're getting some great loot. Not bad at all. Got a CD here for nowhere. JTH. That's Jack Tan and Handsome. So far, so good for this squad. They are looting up. First airdrop down. 2.1 mil red that they found earlier. They're feeling really comfortable right now.
Yeah, at this point, this would be a solid time to go ahead and take that early exit. And once you start thinking about exits, look at SFC here. Now, this is a strategy that we've definitely seen tried out. I've seen it go either way. This morning in EU, well, the team that was camping the extract didn't actually pan out to be the one that took the extract.
Yeah, that's so true. I will say, let's pay attention to what Spades is rocking right now. PKM in hand, and actually has some gold ammo in the inventory here. I believe they picked that up from Saeed. So we'll shred whoever walks through this door immediately, if anybody does. About 60 seconds on that clock. This will likely be our first fight, though, as Ink has spotted out a team close by, or at the very least heard them playing this off angle. See who peeks first.
Ooh.
So far, nobody.
I mean, I really love that we're just being hyper conservative. There's a good chance that they're going to filter out through this. Ink Killzol should be able to pick up one, but I love that they send the Saniva out first to kind of peek with the shield, and immediately not connecting on that kind of gives you the signal of, oh, hey, they're going to look to reposition. This is probably not going to come through, but elsewhere you got black and yellow skies starting to kind of open it up here against Mengu.
Yeah, Bay with the first pick. Here's skies. Black and yellow, it takes way too long for me to say, so I'm going to call them Bay today, as their abbreviation dictates. Notably in yellow, by the way, which is nice. The first knock of the first map. Almost trade out one. SFC are out of here, by the way. Nobody can test them in that damn extract, and they are out of the map. And it looks like JTH sent nowhere out of the map as well to assure that they can get all the loot that they want out. The other two likely going to stay to play spoiler. Watch out for Jack Tan and Handsome in the white or the gray, swinging around this map trying to find some kills in the last 5 minutes or so.
I'm surprised that no one decided to push on in early, but I think SFC definitely made the right call. I think getting out with north of 2 million is brilliant. We saw a lot of people leaving early on, like you said, with that JTH. For Ink, I think it's time to get mixy, right? We haven't really found a ton of the loot that some other teams may have, but what you can do is start anchoring down and get those 300K per kills. Plenty of them left on the board here.
And not taking the Dam extract does kind of force people's hand. We've got Dam Crest as an extract point, and then the Repair Passage as an extract point. Worth noting, they've got some asterisks on getting out of the map. We've seen that time and time again. The no backpack extract. And there's the second airdrop. We found our first AWM. A big take. Now you got to get out of the map with it. Can't put this stuff in your safe box, so you got to play with it in hand and hope you don't lose it.
Oof.
A lot of loot value, obviously, but more so the value that comes with this weapon. We all know this weapon far too well, oftentimes at the hands of our enemies. One-shotting us as we're running across the map on Space City. We'll see what Ink's able to do with it.
Well, Ink did have, I think, 6 kills during the regional semifinals, so substantial. Killzol actually walked away with double digits. The only player from the regional semis to have double-digit kills. So a team that could really benefit from having the AWM for sure.
A good shout. It's the first body, the only body that's been cut down thus far. They's going to try to get that loot up if they can. Well, here's the Dam extract again. There was enough timer on the actual map itself, albeit a 16-minute map. Yes, they are a bit shorter than normal pubs. It was able to be pulled again, I believe, from the substation lever. We've got another Dam extract, and it is in time before the map is over. You can see the Dam extract has got 3 minutes left on the clock, and the map's got nearly 5, so plenty of time to get out. And now, a repeat of history. What just happened a moment ago, this time likely contested. You see AKA holding the Dam extract, kind of actually out in the open right now, maybe trading loot. If they're not careful. Ink's going to take a look at this and catch one unaware.
I'm imagining they're going to hear it. But if I'm Ink, you cannot assume that you are the only team walking up in here.
Yeah, somebody pulled the lever.
But this angle. This angle from January, though.
Yeah, box is set up decently. Only problem here is it really comes down to who knocks first. Okay, we do have a Viren. This is what I was curious about. Missing on the left-hand side. AKA 60 MG with the Viren. It's going to early burn this knockdown, which, if it would have landed, maybe they could have pushed on it. They've got a Saniva on their side as well. The Sonic Paralysis coming in. They were likely expecting a full push, so we went ahead and tried to knock them down to stave off the push. So far, so good. Smokes galore. They do swing in. They make it inside, technically. The battle for the ages here to start things off. Finally, a full team of 3 versus a team of 3. 1 week on the side of Ink.
Yeah, those traps right there, but the swing on 60 MG, and he falls first. Unfortunate now, Articuno. January healing back on up. The Saniva with the shield down. Just trying to get closer. Leaves his back on open.
Yeah, this is brutal. And all of a sudden, look who comes in for the third party. Bay, black and yellow. Getting into the mix and taking down the final remaining member of that squad, AKA full out of this map. And Ink has taken the power position inside the Dam. There's still plenty of time left on it, 70 seconds or so. You gotta remember, there's 2 members of JTH running around the map trying to play spoiler. We told you to watch out for him. Equal plays. Get a third party, the third party. Make it a fourth party potential. Here we go. Equal plays as a solo. Slow walking into this fight.
Oh, picks up a little bit more speed. Captures one off guard. Doesn't get the knock. Okay, so now not only that, we've given away our presence, and black and yellow has full scent inside. Start looking through it, but I mean, you've got to realize that we burned a lot of our kit just to get in terms of our abilities. So just kind of bleeding on out from a massive nade coming in from Killzall.
That's a triple kill with a nade?
And it's, yeah, the incendiary just went gnarly in there. Oh my god.
This is the problem with the Dam Extract. If you force the push into that corridor on the left-hand side, a couple well-placed nades, all of a sudden a full team wipe. Ink is up big right now. And with 15 seconds remaining, Equal Play is going to catch the tail end of this and try to catch one unaware. They're absolutely peeking you. A nice take, rips some of the shields, rips some of the health, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to go for the triple blaster play here. There's just not enough time. Even if he gets a knock here, they're going to get out of the map. He knows it. They know it. They're out of the map. Equal Play is not able to do too much besides scare a couple folks. And Sing Song gets out of the map through the no backpack extract on the other side to the north of barracks. Well done from JTH, but even better job from Ink. All 3 out with a ton of kills.
I am just shell-shocked, right? And you do still have in the safe box that hyper valuable item. So I'm really not too worried about it. You can see it's going to take up the whole thing. It's worth what, 2.1, 2.2? Yeah. That is where the majority of their value in assets is coming through. But I feel like those are one of those clips that we need to see run back from, I believe it was Killzall's POV, right? I want to see the arm that threw the nade, that connected and completely took out everyone.
Yeah, that's wild nade. Equal Play knows he's last on the map, or should be near last on the map. We do have Mango's team floating out there somewhere as we're trying to write some words into the wall. We'll swing over to see where they're at. Does look like they're trying to get out on the south side of the map. Should be able to extract here. Ooh, just barely in time. Not a ton of loot, but hey, we lost one player earlier. We played nice and slow. We keep 2 alive. Better to get out than not, frankly. So nice job from them to maintain whatever loot they've got moving into the next round. No problem at all. Got a decent amount of loot. You can see the cordless drill used to be worth a lot, not as much anymore. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I reference it every single show. I used to farm those things. But decent loot in the safe box. Mango's team, 2 players getting out. Invitational Qualifiers North America Regional Final started off with a bang. Here's our Group A Match 1, aka the only group of the day. Ink on your screen. 4.4 mil in total assets from that one. Not too bad. Just barely eking out over Jack Tan and Handsome here, Tiff.
Yeah, this is going to be largely in particular to the fact that they had 5 kills. So 300K per 5 kills. You guys do the math. 3 of those were thanks to Killzall hitting a nasty nade. So we'll take the 4.4 million. Jack Tan and Handsome did really nice getting out with 3.8. Of course, saw FFC take that early exit and go ahead and just dip on out of there. But when you look at the overall Ink that kind of hails from that Group A regional semifinals last week, and they actually got 2nd overall in that group, and now seeing them first on the overall leaderboard is great and all, but we got to get them a Mandel brick once they start spawning.
Yeah, great numbers across the board. Pretty even spread. This is not what we saw during Europe. This is what I expected, though. Usually the first map doesn't put somebody way out ahead, just gives them a nice buffer overall to work with on the leaderboard. Of course, this is your total assets going in. Reminder, all teams came in with 3 million technically on the leaderboard. 1 million per player is what they start with to kit themselves out, etc. So some of the teams at the bottom basically gained nothing for the most part. Team at the top gained that 4 million or so that we just saw on the match leaderboard. So that's the way that works. I will say, again, I think in Europe we had a team, I think it was Paris, that got well into double digits, were way apart, put themselves above and beyond everybody else, which set them up for success, albeit they didn't make land, unfortunately, because they couldn't get a Mandel brick. So it's exactly what you just said. Loot value extremely helpful in terms of bringing the best kit in and making sure that you beat the other teams in your same metric, whether they have a Mandel brick or not. but it's all about the Mandelbrick. So a nice game thus far from Inc. And I think overall, they kind of set the tone for what they were capable of. They won a fight in a disadvantageous position by getting the early knock, aggressively pushed it, took the advantageous position, and were able to hold it. They truthfully were the team to beat when it came to Zero Damn Tiff. I'll be curious if they can do it again on Brackish.
I mean, their fights look great, and I think that they've definitely tightened up on some things that they had probably